Hey, Chris Manning here from the Locked On Cavs podcast, joined as always by my co-pilot, the other half of this fantastic duo. It's Evan Dammarell. On today's show, we're going to talk about Cavs Suns, which was a ton of fun. Isaac Okoro obviously being the star of that game. We're going to talk about the Blazers game coming up tomorrow on May 5th. And we're going to talk about Anderson Varejao speaking to the media now that he is officially back with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Did not play on Tuesday evening against Phoenix, but did do go through some more pregame stuff and shoot around and everything. And he seemed pretty thrilled to be back. But before we get into today's show, I want to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by Michelob Ultra and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. So stay tuned for the Ultra Player of the Week coming up later in the episode. Evan, this was a fun game. I think as far as late season basketball goes, especially in this condensed season, considering all the players that are out for Cleveland, Darius Garland, Larry Nance Jr. sort of the chief two there. Fun game, goes to overtime. Cavs lose 134-18. They were outscored 20-4 in overtime. And as far as the betting lines go, the Cavs were 13-point dogs, and in some books at least, and their overtime cost anyone that took the Cavs in that model. I can name one person that I will not name, but wasn't me. Tough look for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, it is tough, but it was a fun game, like you said. Overtime is just kind of unfortunate, but um, at least I think we're gonna have some fun basketball on the stretch because this Cavs team has no quit, and I don't think they're really gonna lay down. JB Bickerstaff and Colin Sexton won't let them, at least.
Yeah, and I think depending on if you get Darius back at all, maybe they'll rest. It wouldn't shock me if like maybe Kevin gets tomorrow night off and tomorrow's kind of a stinker. That's like a schedule situation. Obviously like Indiana who
Even if they rested Kevin Love, they're gonna get the same impact, even if he did or did not play. So, but Don,
like you get Indiana next week, and Indiana is like atrocious right now in a lot of ways. Like their defense is horrific. Tony East from Locked On Pacers had a tweet that they give up like 417 points or something like that over a certain stretch of games, and like three
it's
games. I was
absurd.
just like,
They gave up like 150 to the Wizards last night in regular play. Like there's no
yeah.
overtime involved. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's quite brutal. But we're not here to talk about the Indiana Pacers. Go check out our friend Tony East on Locked On Pacers if you want that. But the Cavs lose again, 134-118, leading the way in this one. Isaac Okoro with a career high 32. I don't want to shout him out, but I have to because I saw it from him first. Just as Justin Rowan from the Chase Down pointed out, that is higher than Sexton, Garland, and Kevin Porter Jr. all had as their rookie season highs. Colin Sexton added 29 points. Jetty Osman had 16. Jared Allen had 17 and 8 rebounds. For Phoenix, Devin Booker, 31. Chris Paul, 23. And Mikal Bridges had 22. DeAndre Ayton had 15 and 8, with Frank Kaminsky adding 11 off the bench. All right, Evan. So MVP, I think we're both going to pick the same guy here. So let's just gush about Isaac Okoro here for a minute.
Oh yeah, Isaac is my MVP pick. Like you said, he's yours too, and he looked so good tonight. Just a lot of encouraging signs in general. It just he built upon, I think, or maybe built upon is a better way to put it. Like the flashes of potential he showed at Auburn, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Like he's really freaking good defensively. And shouts to Justin Rowan one more time. Justin, your check's in the mail. Don't worry.
No. He owes us money.
He owes us a plug on the Cleveland Cavaliers official
or
podcast,
$100.
Or a plug is fine too, because the Canadian to American transfer rate might be making things a little complicated. But he pointed this out that Mike Schmitz of ESPN was on Brian Windhorst's podcast, and he said when analyzing Okoro's film, he took massive leaps each season, and I think maybe we're starting to see a little bit of not a massive leap, but a leap on offense. Like I think in the last 6 or 7 games, Okoro scored in double digits. He's looked really sharp from the line. He's been looking more and more confident in his 3-point shot, and his handle's looking good, and his playmaking's looking good as well. There's six dimes tonight. Like that's super encouraging in itself, and Okoro looked great. Simply put, like I really enjoyed watching him play tonight. He was a lot of fun. Really taking it to a good Phoenix team on offense, and also had the tough task of defending Chris Paul and Devin Booker tonight. So again, Isaac Okoro's defensive assignment list just continues to grow with a more impressive resume in his rookie season. But yeah, really good game for Okoro. Easily our MVP pick, and maybe another pick soon after.
I think definitely. All right, so here's his full stat line: 32 points, 6 assists for one Isaac Okoro, which I haven't checked, but I think has to be a career high. He also had just 1 turnover. He had 3 rebounds. He had a steal. He was a cool 3 of 4 from 3, was 10 of 16 from the field, and 9 of 9 from the free throw line. That's just a really, really impressive performance. I think we both have big believers in his stock. I think some people that watch him play on a nightly basis, I think I would consider myself in this group. As a little tease for something I'm writing for Fear the Sword on Friday, like I've been poking around a little bit to see where people might think of him as an all-rookie candidate, and I don't think he's going to be a rookie, either first or second team, but I think there should be a very strong case for him. Like none of the big catch-all counting metrics, whether it's like something older like PER or something like value of replacement or whatever, like don't really rate him very high because a lot of the stuff that he does very well is not counting stat stuff. The only guy that's like sort of made an all-rookie team that is comparable to him is Matisse Thybulle, and Thybulle was different because he played in a really good situation, and like that was like sort of the expectation and later pick and everything like that. I think Okoro has been really impressive, and I think he's been really impressive as of late. This might have been he's had some really, really great games as a rookie. This I think maybe is his best game. Obviously made some mistakes late. Had a couple errant passes and whatnot, but I think did a lot in this game that makes you really, really believe in him. And Evan, that transitions us into play of the night. And mine is just every time Isaac Okoro drove to the lane and got a foul. Every time that happened, because I think his handle is maybe it's arguably a bigger project than his shot in some ways. But he's really strong. He like in this, for instance, he drove through Mikal Bridges' chest, and Mikal Bridges is like all NBA caliber defensive player. Really, really good, really, really good wing for Phoenix. Very long, and Okoro had and went through him. He's getting very comfortable, at least at that stuff, and he's really good when he can use his strength and putting some pressure on the defender to put guys in uncomfortable positions. That's a really positive sign, and those plays to me were the thing that popped for him in this game. But what about you? As your play of the night?
My play of the night pick was about towards the end of the first quarter. There was a little bit of a haphazard pass that would have resulted in a Devin Booker steal, but Colin Sexton just made the right read as a free safety, picked up the pass, drove it down 12 feet, I believe, for the layup. It was a really cool play on Colin's part, and I just really enjoyed it. It was a smart play as well, like just being aware of what was going on in game, and good vision on Colin's part. I know I don't say that often, but it's the truth. But that's just a really encouraging sign from Colin and just a fun play. I think your Okoro one is probably the easier winner of the two, but something that deserves a shout out, at least for me.
Yeah, Colin I think had a lot of positives in this game. I think some negatives. You saw I think possession to possession at times. Like he made that one really nice free to Mifandou Kalabenge to the corner, and then the next possession just like drove into the defenders and turned the ball over. Like he very much vacillated between like some really good stuff and some really bad stuff. And that's young. I think still is figuring some stuff out and whatever. And we don't need to have the Colin second discourse here because I think we both agree that there's stuff he does very well and there's stuff he doesn't, and that's okay because he's in year 3 in a weird situation.
Yep.
So Evan, stat of the night. What is your stat of the night for Cavs Suns?
It's going to be a cheekier one. With this loss to the Phoenix Suns, the Cleveland Cavaliers are now tied with the Orlando Magic and the Oklahoma City Thunder for the 4th worst record in the NBA, and I think Cleveland wins tiebreakers because of their losses to OKC and Orlando throughout this season. So Cleveland right now has the 4th worst record. I know the odds are split up between those 4 teams, of course, but hey, the Cavs have a better chance at a draft pick for this one, a good draft pick for this one. So that's my stat of the night. How about you?
That's a good one. So mine is just that the Cavs, Mifandou Kalabenge played almost 5 minutes. Mine just is the number 7 because the Cavs functionally played like 7 players in this game. And like we saw Isaac Okoro in overtime, grabbing at his leg a little bit. And like I think it just cramps. It's not like an injury or anything of that nature. But this Cavs team, I think a thing I want to ask every player if the Cavs do media exit interviews, and again, historically, this is not something they have done. So like we'll see if they do that or not. But I do believe that like I would like to ask every single player how the season ultimately feels now that it's done. And then when we get back to the fall, I want to ask all of them, hey, you had a summer to recover. You had a summer to get your body right and to rehab. How do you feel now that you got some time off and looking back on that season? Those are, I think, just very interesting questions about the health of the players. What kind of face are you making right now?
I'm just thinking about coming back this summer. Did you see what Anthony Edwards said about what he's going to work on this offseason?
Look, all I'm going to say is, Anthony
Edwards is so fun.
if Anthony Edwards ever gives up like being open and honest with the media people, like we're not going to dive in. Go check out Locked On Timberwolves for that. But Anthony
Sorry,
Edwards should
that's
never.
why I was
No,
smiling and laughing. I just thought of that.
he should never stop being fun because it is good. And players, I
it's
understand not everyone
refreshing.
wants to talk with us, but it's like very refreshing for someone to just like have a good time with this because we're all here just for the vibes. I think ultimately vibes into like, bread on the table and whatever. But that's where we are with Cavs Suns.
And Chris, real quick,
what?
speaking of your stat of the night being 7, Anderson Varejao is wearing 17, and maybe we should hit pause, pay some bills, and come back and talk about Andy.
Look, man, that's where I was going. I was trying to transition us here. Like
transition like Anthony. My Colin Sexton shirt. Video listeners, if you know,
Sexton is very fast in transition. I will, really a pro thing for. But we gotta.
We're not fast transitioning this ad read, so
we never do. We're gonna tell everyone about our friends first at Michelob Ultra, and we're gonna name our Ultra Player of the Week. So, Evan, this Ultra Player of the Week has to exude joy, happiness, enjoyment. We have to talk about, the fact that Michelob Ultra is a great beer that's only worth it if you enjoy it. And at 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, how could you not enjoy it? I think the Ultra Player of the Week, just based on this performance, we've talked about him a lot. It's Isaac Okoro.
Yeah, it's easily Isaac.
He can't drink a Michelob Ultra yet, unfortunately.
No, he cannot. So, Isaac, as a brand ambassador for Michelob Ultra, I'll drink yours for you some other time. But right now, yeah, Isaac has been phenomenal for the Cavs this last week, and hopefully he just keeps building upon it.
What, Evan? I'm going to ask you just this: yes or no? Would you, if you had a vote, would you put Isaac Okoro on second team All Rookie?
Yes.
I think I would too. And remember, joy. It's enjoyment isn't the end game; it's the whole game. I think Isaac Okoro, for him, playing the defense he has, that is a win for him, and that is the whole game. Again, Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Are you happy because you win, or do you win because you're happy? Check out Michelob Ultra, and Isaac Okoro is our Ultra Player of the Week. All right, Evan, you transitioned us there. We're gonna go to Anderson Varejao next. So he had media availability on Tuesday. He did not play on Tuesday after he officially signed his 10-day contract with the team. We got a quote from Kobe Altman per press release. That was absolutely not how a real human talks, but I guess that'll suffice for now. Anyway, what do you make? What did you make of what Andy had to say? What popped to you? What stood out? What was about Andy's session? What stood out to you?
What popped to me is that he personally thanked Dan Gilbert twice, but the fact that Andy is really coming in. JB said this as well pre-game when he was talking about Andy. Like, he's going to be a veteran presence for this locker room and just kind of help guide these young players and make them better on a game-to-game basis because let's just go through his track record. He has 12 years at the Cavs. His peak was 14-14, but he had an injury, a blood clotting issue that took him down. He's had an Achilles problem with the Cavs, obviously banged up, but I'm of the opinion that 17 should be retired, which is, is Varejao's number. But I think it's just a fun story. I think it's harmless. I don't think he's going to play much. Maybe he'll play some of Cleveland's minutes towards the end of the season.
The cap he put on himself was like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he's realistic. He's 39 years old. He has a bad Achilles. I was talking to the best Cavs beat reporter in front of the pod, Ashley Bastock, about this, but Andy was talking about how he was working out in his garage, and I just kept getting this visual image of like him living in like a modest suburban home in Northeast Ohio with like an oil stain on his garage floor and like a weight set from like the late 80s, early 90s. He's
like
just sitting
there. He's got like the twist on dumbbells.
Yes. And he's like just benching, just waiting for Kobe to give him the call. And then this has been set in motion for a few days. Apparently the Cavs. That's another thing that stood out is apparently Andy and the Cavs have been talking about this for the better part of this season. So I think it's fun. I think it's harmless. I really don't think it's that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. Like, I don't know. I didn't watch much Mad Men, but I know Don Draper says nostalgia is poetic and it works. So I just will just have some fun with it and roll with it, I guess.
Love Mad Men. What a great television show. I think people getting annoyed about this are quite silly.
Yeah.
Like what? It's like there's no harm in this.
Like, got mad at him for signing with Golden State after the Cavs traded him to
the Cavs like salary dumped him. They were just like, bye.
Yeah, they dumped him.
They offered him a ring. He didn't take it, and he was still pretty happy for them. He got asked about that today. I just really empathize with Andy because like I can't imagine like just knowing what most players do in the summer, even like this past summer, when off season with COVID and everything, like guys will really get a lot of 5-on-5 in. They get at least like they're working out with other players. Like, for instance, in Nashville, Darius was working out with like Robert Covington, among other players. And like a lot of guys are in New York still. And like maybe not it's
Colin
not as
worked out
like,
with Chris Paul.
right. Like it's not as congested as like it might be in certain summers where like a ton of guys are like all with that one trainer. No free ads who is in New York. KBJ's trained with him and stuff. Kevin's trained with him. Donovan Mitchell's trained with him, etc. You maybe don't have that and like the runs that you might get, which a lot of guys will play. You'll see the clips of like people playing 5-on-5 at gyms in New York or whatever. But like you're still getting working with trainers. You're still getting like working with other players and stuff. Andy was like by his account. So we're gonna take him as his word. Was playing, doing some one-on-one basketball stuff. He has not played a basketball game of any kind, whether it's professional for the Brazilian national team, whatever, since 2019 when he was in China playing in the World Cup for his native Brazil. Like he has been off the court for a long time. He's obviously got the as you alluded to and said, that the big run of injuries that really has derailed him in a lot of ways. Like it is all extremely complicated for him to kind of like figure all of that out. And like, I empathize with him trying to do this, and like I think it's I don't think he's gonna play a ton. I hope he said like he referred to himself in the third person. Was like I hope I can go out there and do some stuff like Andy used to. But I think it's whatever. Like he's gonna get to retire Cavalier. That's cool. Let's just like I think also like I think if you can do right by players, that's not a bad thing to do as an organization. The Cavs have the means to do it. The order of operations of it, obviously, as we said, I at least said on Monday's show, is very funny to me because like they made it harder than it needed to be with the hardship exception and everything. But I do not have a problem with this. I think it's fun. He was a very well spoken. It was cool to see all the hear all the Portuguese, the Brazilian media ask him questions in Portuguese. It was cool. I have no qualms with Anderson Varejao just doing this, and like again, it's going to be fun to just see him like play 10 minutes in a random game. Like, I don't know if it's tomorrow. I don't know if it's against Dallas. I think it's cool that he's going to finish his NBA career with the Cavs, the franchise that like I think he should be tied to for now and forever.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think they try and give him the Udonis Haslam honors and they just sign him to a vet min and let him be that 15th guy who never plays, but he's always just a presence to be there if he really is if he is that positive and influences JB Hopes, would you be opposed to that?
So like I don't really ever hate those things. Like I understand that like, and you're maybe some teams will consider that's like a waste of a roster spot, and like I know some people like why doesn't UD just become a coach? But like I think there is a difference when you have a guy in the locker room that can do that stuff. And like if Andy can be that guy, I don't think that's like a terrible thing. I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world.
UD's a bridge between the coaching staff and the roster, the players. Like he serves as a conduit for both, and I think Andy could, if he is open to it, could serve that role.
Like if you had him and Delly doing that, I don't think that's like a terrible outcome. And maybe Delly's more likely to see some minutes or whatever. But like I don't think that's like a terrible thing to do. I don't know if Andy is. I mean I don't. He didn't get asked this, and maybe that was a flaw in the presser. But like maybe like is Andy going to play next year? I don't know what his future exactly holds. It seems sort of the hints of it are sort of that like this is like a wind down for him, right? Like this is just kind of like him like putting a bow on this. But maybe he does one more year where he gets a Channing Frye-esque kind of last season or whatever. I don't know.
That'd be pretty neat. I don't know. It'd be pretty cool. Like I said, and I'll say this the whole time again, retire 17. Go ahead.
Well, but I guess like do you think there is anything like to there's the criticisms of this? Do you have like any take on if we talked about this a little bit, but like there have been some people that have kind of raised a stink about this. Do you have any qualms with this?
No, because in this moment in time, the Cavaliers have 7 games left in their season. They were eliminated from the playoffs yesterday. They're just trying to find positive growth that they can keep building on to the young players in this last handful of games in the season, and they move towards next offseason. Why not do something fun? They have an open roster spot. They applied for a hardship extension, and apparently Delly and Nance aren't coming back this year because of it. So have some fun, do something entertaining. You can have some fans in the arena. Why not have them be entertained? Like I remember when Delhi first came back, how juiced up the arena was, and then everyone soured on him really quick when he fixed it. He changed his shot mechanics, but
Well,
just let
some
people have
people,
fun. I don't
yeah,
know what the big deal is. Like
yeah,
what are the Cavs going to use that roster spot for?
right.
Jeremy
I don't
Carter?
think, yeah, there's it's not like you're gonna get like a guy you could turn into a rotation piece like right now anyway. I think
There's
the
not
only
enough
thing I would,
time.
yeah, I think if there's a conversation to be had, it's probably that like there has to be something beyond like nostalgic players for people to care about on this Cavs team. But that's an exercise we can talk about on another day. Evan, if you could pick one random Cav though, before we do our pay some more bills here, I just want to name. If you could pick one random Cleveland Cavalier to give like a 10-day contract to, just pull him out of the woodwork and pop him for a 10-day, who would it be?
Anthony Bennett.
Oh, okay, that's an inspired choice. Mine's Jawad Williams.
Ooh, that's a good pick too.
St. Ed's, play that local angle up, call it a day. But Evan, let's pay some more bills. First up, we got our friends at Built Bar, who are again a fantastic uh, sponsor of the network. And Evan, as always, they're coming in hot with all the great flavors. They have 9 delicious flavors right now that are plus the occasional limited time flavor, including the mocha one that dropped the other day. You have coconut almond, cherry, raspberry, mint brownie, peanut butter brownie, double chocolate, and salted caramel. There's something for everyone. My favorite bar right now, I got to go mint brownie. It's a staple, and it's just absolutely awesome. Evan, do you have a favorite?
Cookies and cream is pretty good, but I am really warming up to the churro puff. I ordered some the other day because how much I like them.
Yeah. If you haven't tried all the flavors, you can also get a mixed box where you get 2 of each of the 9 current flavors in rotation. Most of the flavors have 17 grams of protein, 130 calories, only 4 grams of sugar, and only 4 grams of net carbs. A few are 18 grams of protein, 180 calories, 5 grams of sugar, and just 5 grams of net carbohydrates. 9 amazing flavors, all tasty and all healthy. If you don't know what to get mom for Mother's Day, well, most moms I know love Built Bar. Send her a box, and you're sure to be get her favorite at least for a while until you get her the next box of Built Bars. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off your next order. Again, promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com. Order today. Get that raspberry mint brownie, whatever you like.
Let me tell you about our other sponsor, Bet Online. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Baseball season is in full swing, get it? And you can track all the action at Bet Online. This week had tons of sports action on the go as the NFL draft and the Kentucky Derby were back, and as the first leg of the Triple Crown began last weekend. Get all the latest news, odds, and info for all your sporting needs, including the MLB, NBA, NHL, and all your UFC/MMA action. Before the next pitch, head over to BetOnline on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore, as this is your chance to get into the game as teams prep for their runs to the playoffs. Head to their website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit, but only if you use the promo code LOCKEDON. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.
All right, Evan, last segment here. Let's talk about this Blazers game. I don't have a ton to say, to be honest with you, because here's the TLDR of this all. Cavs are coming off a back-to-back where they played into overtime. Their best 2 players, or at least their 2 healthy young players right now, Sexton and Okoro. Okoro played like 47 minutes. Sexton played like close to 40. They have a bunch of injuries. Portland had tonight off. They've been really good the last 2 weeks. Have Dame's looked incredible again. Norm has been fun for them, etc. I think that I thought this tonight, but the Cavs came in and really put up a really good fight against a very good Phoenix team that is tied for first in the Western Conference right now. Could very well be like the number 1 seed in the entire league come the playoffs, which is incredible. And I think we should talk about that at some point in terms of what the Cavs could learn from it. But I think the Cavs might just get their stuff rocked on Wednesday night at home against Portland, against Dame, against the Trailblazers.
Yeah, Damian Lillard is probable. I'm looking at the injury report now. Zach Collins is out. Norman Powell is questionable. So let's just assume Dame and CJ play. Northeast Ohio's own CJ McCollum. It's going to be tough. I wonder if there's going to be any narratives or people blowing things out of proportion after what Kevin Love said on his appearance on that podcast on Yahoo Sports, but where he said he'd love to play with Damian Lillard and play for the Trailblazers one day. Let's not read too much into that.
I gotta just say though, the amount of the texts I got about that and talking to people about it, like friends that are Cavs fans, and just being like, I'm out on like I think the Kevin Love thing has just like become like very uncomfortable, unfortunately. And that
Yeah.
was just like that wasn't recorded. Like I think it's very clear to me that this was recorded like sometime before. I don't know when. There was like that teaser that was put out there like the week before, and then like it dropped. The full episode dropped. But this was like if there was like a Sunday building of like people being really annoyed at Kevin Love, this was like the cherry on top of that Sunday.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was just a weird situation as a whole, but yeah, the Cavs could get rocked. They went to overtime against Phoenix. They looked just gassed in overtime, like you said. There's in the first segment they were outscored 20-4 in that one. Isaac Okoro played nearly 48 minutes. Colin Sexton, I think, logged over 40. Jetty Osman's going to be getting some burn as well. Like the Cavs could rest Kevin Love as well. Like things could get really murky really fast and could get really ugly really fast because Terry Stotts is kind of coaching for his job right now. He doesn't have much job security with the Blazers, but it's just kind of wild to see how things are unfolding for Portland, but this could be a good restart game and a good palate cleanser for them because this isn't a very good defensive Cavs team, especially with how gassed they're going to be. And I don't know. Damian Lillard's incredible. I'm going to have fun watching him play.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. I want to see Okoro defend him. I want to see Okoro like handle that to some degree. If he play, I mean, assuming like everything's all right there and like there's no quite issue. I guess this is just like one of the problems of this season. You know, like this is such a condensed season that like you just have like schedule losses are a thing. Like Baxter Holmes at ESPN did a really great piece with this a couple years ago, but like Portland was off on May 4th. They played, they lost on May 3rd, but they're off. Then they get 7:30 p.m. in Cleveland. The Cavs are going to be less than 24 hours on this turnaround. Played in overtime. Phoenix has the same situation. They're playing in Atlanta on Wednesday night, which is tough for them. And then the Cavs get Dallas twice in 3 days. Like this is just like a brutal end of the stretch, and like the schedule is just very unforgiving at the moment. It asks a lot, and I almost wonder if like Andy plays tomorrow just because like they're running out of bodies, or if like I mean like is Lamar Stevens or Isaiah Hartenstein going to get put back in? Like are they going to be cleared from a concussion protocol? Like
that's actually an interesting question. If Kevin Love is benched, do you start Kagan Bailey at the 4 or do you throw Andy in there?
Kagan Bailey and Dean Wade might need to just play like 40 minutes each.
I forgot about Dean as well. So Dean Wade,
like it's like Jarrett's gonna play 40, Dean can play 35, and then Kagan Bailey can just like fill in the other minutes if Andy's not ready to go.
So he would play 23 minutes then, I guess.
Yeah, he's got like I think I would if I'm JB, I'm resting Kevin tomorrow. I don't really see the upside of playing him at this point, unless he's like banging on your door to play. But like I honestly like, dude, if there was ever a night where like I would be comfortable resting a rookie, like I might rest Isaac Okoro.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's gonna happen, but he just played 47 minutes. He's leading all rookies in minutes per game. If he hadn't had that injury early in the season, he would definitely be leading all rookies in minutes. He's third right now as it is. At least coming into Tuesday night's game. And like again, like I would just be uber cautious with all of this stuff. Like I just that's just me. But like, you know, Jetty had a couple weeks off. Like let Jetty play another 45 minutes or whatever. Like let's get Broderick Thomas like more than a minute. Let's like just do whatever. Like let Damian Dotson like get some minutes back under his belt or whatever. Kagan Bailey should definitely play like 25 minutes though. Like that I feel very sure about.
Yeah, might as well see what you have with him. You know, he's intriguing. I guess I can get the upside because he's an athletic big man who has a little bit of stretchiness and range. So, let's see what you got with him. Kind of evaluate things for the future.
Yeah. Anyone on Portland besides like the obvious two, the Lillard McCollum trio that you like watching that you're intrigued by? Anyone you want to shout out here that people should pay attention to and watch in this game?
Carmelo Anthony. He is a top 10 scorer all time now. He is arguably one of the greatest players that I've ever get to watch play. And now I get to watch him torch the Cavs bench unit because let's say a prayer for that Cavs bench unit. Isaac Okoro, if he plays, will draw the assignment of Carmelo Anthony.
I
We'll
would
just
like
add
to
that
see
to his
Isaac
rap
defend
sheet.
Melo. Actually, I think that would be cool. That's
That'd be
worth it.
cool.
That's worth it alone.
That's a tough assignment because Melo's a big body. How about you, though?
We talked about this when I went down the Jakob Pertl rabbit hole last year. I quite like Yusuf Nurkic. He's looked, I think, a little better of late. Looks kind of getting more Nurkic-y, doing the stuff that you sort of want from him. It at least seems like that. Can't say I'm like 100% glued in on there, but there. And Fernie Simons, just every time I watch him, he's so young still, and he's intriguing. Yeah, Portland's interesting. Interesting that Harry Giles just like is dead to the world there.
Yeah, he really was like.
And then Zach
a
Collins,
last
obviously,
minute
just
addition.
like I don't know what's going
He's
on there,
out, but
but yeah, that's just like was like. I just want to point something out on this before we go. I just got to get this take off. Been saving this. And I forgot, but I've been saving this one in the holster for a while.
Okay.
It's not even hot. It's just like we get people in the league, and I think on fake trades, we like wring our hands a lot over like, oh, this guy's got to be untouchable. Like, can't trade Zach Collins for Kevin Love.
Yeah, that still makes me laugh, man.
Just like Zach Collins was interesting. I get that he's younger, cost controlled, all that stuff. Like, look what has happened here. Like, I don't know what to tell you what Zach Collins is anymore. You know, that is what it is. Evan, let's get out of here though.
Yeah,
let's wrap it up.
And sad news: the Oklahoma City Thunder lost to the Sacramento Kings, so Cleveland is now.
Wait, let's each do it. Do you have Tankathon up? Let's do a Tankathon sim and get out of here.
Okay. Everyone at home, if you're listening, pull up Tankathon and sim with us.
Or if you're watching on WKYC, we're gonna do a Tankathon sim here.
Baby.
All right, let me do mine and we'll compare.
Rubbing my hands.
Okay. All right, here's Evan. Here's mine. Here's my top. Here's my order. Spurs jumped all the way to number 1 from 12th. Pistons at 2, Rockets at 3, Raptors jumped 4 spots to 4. The Wolves dropped to 5 and lose their pick to the Warriors. The Thunder at 6, the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 7.
Well, I'll go top 7 as well because my number 1 is Cleveland. My number 2 is Minnesota. My number 3 is Oklahoma City. My number 4 is Detroit. My number 5 is Oklahoma City. My number 6 is Orlando. And my number 7 is Orlando. Tough luck for the Bulls and the Rockets there.
Yeah, but Cavs, the fade for Cade certainly pulls itself out there. But that is going to be it for Locked On Cavs. Thanks to Michelob Ultra, thanks to Built Bar, and thanks to BetOnline for sponsoring the show. Again, if you're watching us on WKYC and are want to tune in for more, subscribe wherever you get podcasts. We're having some issues with Apple right now as are all podcasts, but please go to Spotify or wherever else you might download podcasts to check us out. And as a reminder, you got to check out the Locked On Today podcast. Get all the sports news you need in under 20 minutes with the Locked On Today podcast. Host Peter Bukowski updates you on the latest news in every major sport with the help of our local experts. One day, Evan and I will be on there at some point to talk about the Cavs at some point. But follow the Locked On Today podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. And Odyssey, by the way, is spelled AUDACY. We'll talk to you all tomorrow after Cavs Blazers.